Hey everyone, it's Rish here and welcome back to my channel. So I've had a few questions about the builds that I use in most of my videos. So I'm going to go through the skills and essences that I use. I'm also going to show you what they look like. So let's get started. First up, I'm using Meteor without any kind of buffs on it. So you can drop it wherever you want to within this circle and it looks like this. Then I'm using Scorch with a couple of different essences. So that looks like this. So you can see it makes a magma pool. Then I'm using Lightning Nova, which I have used in essence to turn it into Fire Nova. I'm also using Arcane Torrent, which looks something like this. I have a couple of different modifiers on this, which I will go through in a second. And then finally, for my primary attack, I'm using Magic Missile, which looks something like this. So let's take a look at the essences I'm using. Starting off with the helm, I am using a Fire Flurry. So this turns Scorch into Magma Burst, which basically hurls a ball of magma that bursts when it strikes an enemy, creating a pool of magma that burns and stuns enemies. Scorch damage increased by 18%. And then also with Scorch, I'm using the shoulder, which is the Phoenix Mantle. So this increases the Scorch radius by 29%. So that's why it makes that huge pool of magma. Really nice for Battleground. Also really nice for dealing with mobs when you're trying to clear through them. Then moving on to the chest, we're using Alora's Fervor. So this has Fire Nova, which is what I was saying about with Lightning Nova. So that increases damage by 18% once it's turned into Fire Nova. I'm using Novel Castigation on the pants, which I've used in the past before. So this turns Arcane Torrent, also firing tracking missiles, dealing 7,027 damage, 90% Arcane Torrent damage increased by 10% because that slot is awakened as well. So really nice amount of damage there from Arcane Torrent. Main hand, I'm using Rift Carver. So this is Chaotic Companion. Arcane Torrent now creates a chaotic orb that moves with you and fires arcane missiles at random nearby enemies. Arcane Torrent damage increased by 18%. So those two essences together make really nice damage from that Arcane Torrent skill. So I really highly recommend them, really easy to use. Then Blaster Cast is an essence that I'm using on the offhand. So Magic Missile fires 2 additional missiles, each dealing 2,639 damage. Damage increased by 90%. So that's really nice for adding a little bit extra to primary attack. Then Forza Faracas on the main hand, Magic Missile damage increased by 38%. So again, putting more damage into my primary attack. And then finally, I'm using the Siphon. So this one is by casting Lightning Nova, if I can find where it is. Let me scroll. Yep, so casting Lightning Nova temporarily increases your movement speed by 60%. Lightning Nova cooldown reduced by 3.6%. Lightning Nova cooldown reduced by 10%, decreased by 10% from the awakened slot there as well. So basically it gives me that little bit of extra speed. I'll just show you what that looks like. So you can see it kind of boosts you for a second, and also the cooldown is pretty much non-existent on that as well, as you can see here. So really nice to get away from enemies in Battleground and also when you're dealing with lots of mobs. So I'm just going to go through the green set items that I use as well. So there's some pieces that I'm not really using right now, and there's others that I'm using more of the set. So I'll just show you. I'm using this on my neck. So this is just because it has a high combat rating and it was the highest piece I could find that also had 3 gem slots. But I'm mainly using Shalbass. So this, my primary attack damage is increased by 15%, and your primary attacks gradually increase your primary attack speed up to a maximum of 25%. So I'm using 4 pieces of this, and that works really nicely for me. However, if you like to use channeling skills in your wizard build, I would really recommend this set. So this is Seeds of Sown Gold. So I sometimes use this. So continually channeling a skill against the same enemy gradually increases the damage of that skill up to a maximum of 30%. And that only requires 2 set items. So any 2 set items from that set will give you that. And if you're using that alongside something like Weaver Paragon, using Ice Crystal, Ray of Frost, or Ice Crystal and Disintegrate, or all 3, that will give you some immense damage in Battleground. So just quickly top line going through the gems that I'm using in this build as well. I've been lucky with some of my 5-star gems, and some of them create long-term effects. So we've got Gloom Cask, we've got Starfire Shard, we've got Seeping Bowl for that poison, we've got Berserker's Eye, Blood-Soaked Jade, Pain Clasp, Echoing Shade, and then Mother's Lament as well, which gives a nice bleed on some of the enemies. So these gems are what I'm using. Berserker's Eye and Mother's Lament are also both awakened and rank 10. So let's head to a quick Elder Rift and see what this build looks like in action. Now, one thing I want to remind you before we get to the end of this video is that builds are really personal. So this really works well for me. It works well with the legendary gems that I'm using, but it's not for everyone. Not everyone will want this kind of build. Some people really love using the channeling skills like the Ray of Frost and the Disintegrate, and that's okay. This is a build that works for me, it might not work for you, and that is absolutely fine. It's really about finding the skills and the essences that you like to work with, and that makes your life easier when you're playing the game as well, because you don't want something that's going to kind of not be giving you the damage that you want or need. So yeah, this works for me, but it might not work for everyone. I hope you enjoyed watching this, and I will leave you with the end of this Elder Rift.
The power of the cosmos.